the earth come alive, put your eyes till the morning. Let our hearts beat again with the lifeblood that never fails. Your love will never fail. Breaking down the divide and the holy collision. The divine in disguise took the cross for our sin and shame. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Blast! Come on! Come on! You know it, let me hear you sing! Before the world you knew your plans for me. Before my heart believed you came to my breath. Get your hands up in the air, come on! And I found in love, there's no rest to run. Keep my life within your mighty hands. Come on, here we go! Oh God, there's no end to your love. There's no end to your love. You're with us. You're with us. There's nothing in this world could take you away. You're with us. You're with us. Before I call to know you'll answer me. Come on, let me hear it. You make a way beyond what I could imagine. Come on. What could separate from the love you gave? My hope and everything that you are. Blast, come on, let me hear it. Oh God, there's no end to your love. There's no end to your love. You're with us. You're with us. Nothing in this world could take you away. You're with us. You're with us. Come on, let's lift it as one voice. Come on, here we go. You reign above all. Be lifted on. Sing it louder. Come on, let me hear you. Sounds beautiful. Let's lift it even higher. Come on. You reign in our heart. You reign above all. Be lifted on high. Yeah. You reign in our heart. You reign above all. Be lifted on high. No end to your love. No end to your love. You're with us. You're with us. Nothing in this world could take you away. You're with us. You're
guys hear me? Hey, why don't you guys head back to your seats? Good to see you. Fist pump, fist pump, fist pump. We're good. Hey, hey. All right, hey, well, as you guys are taking your seats, as you guys are heading back to your seats, I got a couple questions for you. I wanna ask you a question, and I need audience participation in this. It's amazing how much talking it takes to get back to a seat. It's amazing. It's like your voices need to find your seat instead of your butts. All right, so here we go. Audience participation. I need to find out, what are you doing here? All right, serious question. I want to find out what you're doing here. So it's cold outside, right? It's like the coldest temperatures ever. It's so cold. And like we're in a water park resort place that has a theme park, and you don't even have to really go outside, and you can wear your like slippers and shorts all around. Like, so how many people came here and you're here because there's a water park and there's fun stuff to do? Like, go ahead. Nobody. There's like 3 people. All right, here. I don't know if you guys understand how this works. I ask a question, you give a response by yelling or screaming, or you can raise your hand if you want, but that's kind of like almost not participating, because I can't see you anyway. So how many came here because of the water park and the theme park and all that kind of stuff? All right, good. Good. We're doing good. All right, so how many came here because you heard that there was going to be like cool music and awesome music, and we're going to come to this place, and it's going to be fun? A lot of you. A lot of you came here for that. That's good. How many came here because you're like, I get to spend a whole weekend away from my family, and I get to be with my friends? Your parents would be cheering if they were awake right now, but they're sleeping. So, I mean, it's an interesting question. What are you doing here? And I was trying to think about that question. What are you doing here? Because the context of that question matters. The circumstances, the environment, the situation that question gets asked to, and the way you hear it, it all matters. I was trying to remember the last time somebody asked me this question, what are you doing here? And I don't know if you've ever had this situation happen, if this happens to you, but when you haven't been somewhere in a while, and you bump into somebody that you haven't seen in a while, they kind of ask this question, even if you're in a place that it's obvious that everybody there is there for the same reason. Like the other day I went up to Jewel. Some of you guys call it Jewels. I went up to the Jewels, you know. I went up to the Jewels, which says Marketplace on the sign. It's a grocery store, right? And I went around the corner and I bumped into somebody I hadn't seen in a while, and they're like, hey, what are you doing here? It's a trick question. There's food. I got a cart. There's food in my cart. Something I don't know about? Like, is there a 2-for-1 I'm missing? They made a run on the eggs. It's cold out. Like, what? Why? What are you doing here? And I'm thinking this, and my brain kind of processes things kind of fast, and this is all taking place really quickly. And then I start thinking, like, what if they think I'm here for a different reason than I am, and they think I have an ulterior motive for being here? Like I said, context matters, and I was like, oh, wait. It's Thursday night at 11:30. I'm pushing a cart around the Jewels, and I got a pizza. I look lost and tired. Oh, they know. Angela is pregnant. Should I tell them? She is really pregnant. I totally slipped that in there. You totally, like, that's good. Some people that know me, they're like, did he just tell us from stage that he's, like, they're pregnant with their third? Yeah, I did that. Sorry. That's how I did it. So then it's like, dude, what do I say? And you just kind of go, yeah, see you later. Like, what else? I'm at the grocery store. What else would I be doing? I'm shopping, right? And the context matters for this question. For example, context totally matters. Situation matters. Environment matters. Like, for example, if you happen to go to a junior high that is next to another junior high that's a mere blueprint, it's a mere image of your junior high because they ran out of space and they built one just like it for some reason. I don't know why, but they do that. But you go into that junior high because you have to take a class over there, and everything's flip-flopped, and so you go into the wrong bathroom, and like 2 seconds later, somebody comes in after you, the opposite gender. And they leave, and then the vice principal comes in and is like, what are you doing here? Context matters. That didn't happen to me. That happened to a guy. Let's just call him Tim. That's his real name. Last name rhymes with Otherland. So somebody, I have no permission to share that either. So I'm in, whatever. The context matters. What are you doing here? That's kind of how you take it. Or maybe it's like, what are you doing here? That's how it was for me the first week I walked out on freshman year of football practice fields. Everybody had been practicing for 3 weeks prior. 2 days during the summer, they were all sweaty and puking because they were working so hard, and I didn't come during that time because my mom wouldn't let me. She really wouldn't. We went out shopping the week before for like cleats, and she's like, I don't know if this thing's gonna work out. Maybe we go to Play It Again Sports and get your cleats. And I'm okay. I'm just glad that's not where she got my mouth guard and my other protective gear. I'll let you think about that one for a second. Here's a kid going, oh, yeah. So I got all that stuff, and I didn't know where all the shoulder, I go out there on like a bobblehead, and I walk out, and it's like I'm asking that question, and I feel like everybody's asking me that question with their eyes as they're watching me, and I go past the A team and past the B team and past the C team, and I'm on the C practice field, like I'm like waiting to get into the practice for the C team. I'm just thinking, what am I doing here? Like everybody's just wondering, what are you doing here? Context matters. Situation matters, environment matters with that question. It's kind of like when my wife walked in and I'm working on the IKEA stuff, and you're putting that thing together and there's like extra parts and pieces and the directions are somewhere and you're looking around. You ever been to IKEA? I get lost in that place just going there, but let alone putting the furniture together. So my wife walks in and says, what are you doing here? It's kind of like when they play What Does the Fox Say at Blast? You're like, what are you doing here? Right? Context matters. What are you doing here? That's a question that was asked of the kid who showed up at the wrong campus and all the buses left, and they're like, hey, what are you doing here? Everybody's gone. I hope that didn't happen. I'm sorry if it did. I hope everybody's here. Here's the deal. The context matters, situation matters, environment matters when we ask questions. And here's the thing with this question, whatever reason you're here, be it to hang out with your friends, or you got dragged here by your friends, you're not sure how things are going to work out, your parents kind of said you have to go, whatever reason you're here, we're just glad that you're here. Really glad that you're here. But it's this question, what are you doing here? And the context of that question that reaches the ears of this guy named Elijah. And his context, his situation, his environment, his circumstances are completely different than anything like we got going on here at Blast. Because his story is an old story. It's kind of an ancient story. It's thousands of years ago. And you can find it in history books. One of the history books you can find it is called 1 Kings. And 1 Kings was written a long time ago, but you can find his story, Elijah's story, in there. And you can find this story in a library. It's probably one of the most accessible, most tangible, readily available libraries in the world. It's called the Bible. I don't know if you ever thought about the Bible as a library before, but that's what it is. It's a book of history books and songs and poems and letters. And all these books make up a library that we get to have. It just happens to be a library that we call God's Word. So in 1 Kings, in this book about ancient history, the stories that happened that have been written down is the story of this guy named Elijah. And Elijah has this question come to him. But something you need to know about Elijah, kind of the history on Elijah, some kind of quick history on Elijah. Elijah's in the country, and at the time, his country is being ruled by a guy named Ahab and his wife Jezebel. Which Ahab and Jezebel kind of sound like pirates, don't they? It's late, I'm sorry. It's past my bedtime. So they're ruling the country, and they kind of are like pirates. They've kind of hijacked the country because you need to understand this too, that the people of God, that's the Israelites at the time, the people of God, God has asked them to go into the world and to bring harmony and peace, prosperity to not just their country, but through them, all countries in the whole world is going to have prosperity and peace and harmony. That's what they're called to do, and Ahab and Jezebel are doing the exact opposite of that. They're leading people to conflict and disharmony and poverty and injustice, and those things are happening. So Elijah's in the midst of that, and he gets called by God to be his spokesperson, God's spokesperson, to represent him. In the book of 1 Kings, he's called a prophet. And he's not just any prophet. He's like, this guy gets it done. That's the kind of guy Elijah is. You ask him to do something, he gets it done. At one point in the story, Elijah feels called by God to actually push back and rebel against and say no to Ahab and Jezebel. And he does it by actually showing up on a mountain. Hasn't rained in 3 years in the country. No rain's come to the country in 3 years. He shows up on a mountain. He faces off against all these other false prophets, are called leaders inside of Ahab and Jezebel's kind of regime. And he's called to face off against them. And I don't have time to go into the whole story, but you just kind of need to know it. It hasn't rained in 3 years. And so Elijah offers this challenge and says, hey, if you guys can make this pile of stuff burn up, then we'll know your God is real. And if you can't do it and I can, then we'll know my God is real, and you guys will be in big trouble. This is a short version of it. Well, they can't do it. He can do it. He calls fire down from heaven, and this whole pile that he has poured water on and water on and water on, there's like a moat of water on this thing because he just wants to prove that God is real. He calls fire down from heaven, and the whole thing is like, not a bad sound effect. That was pretty good. It's like when you walk outside with that boiling water, you throw it outside. Have you done that? It's just like, it's like that, but fire from heaven. Like, if I'm those false prophets, I'm running, and that's what they start doing. They run, and Elijah and all his buddies, they kind of chase after him. They put him to death. Ahab, he's scared. He's running for his life. In the meantime, this huge black cloud, this thunderous black cloud with rain is coming into the country. It's flooding the country. Ahab's trying to get back to tell Jezebel what's going on. I don't know if this is how you run in a chariot, but he's in a chariot. Elijah doesn't have a chariot, but by the power of the Spirit, he goes faster than Ahab. So he's just called fire down from heaven. He brought rain. It hasn't rained in 3 years, and now he's going faster than chariots are going to beat Ahab back. Like, dude's got some stuff going on. It's like, awesome. Well, news gets back to Jezebel what Elijah's done. And it's interesting what happens next. Ahab tells Jezebel. Jezebel says, well, Elijah has to die. So she puts a bounty out on him. Tells the whole country, Elijah's got to die. If he's not died this time tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to do. She's going to freak out about it. So she tells people that, and here's what happens. Elijah, fire from heaven, running faster than chariots, Elijah runs. He runs into the wilderness. He hides under a tree. Got one of these like freak out crisis moments happening to him. You've had that happen, right? I mean, it doesn't matter how well things are going, doesn't matter what the future might look like, whatever crisis is happening right now, whatever thing's coming down on us right now, that's the most important thing, and that's what's dictating all our decisions, right? Find out that best friend of yours likes your boyfriend. Never talking to her again. It sounded different in my head. Right? You get benched by your basketball coach, and he says you're riding the bench the rest of the season. Well, I'm not playing basketball. I'm not doing anything. I'm not even going to show up next time for practice. We start saying things that we don't really mean, but in the moment, they're just kind of dictating all of our decisions. We have this crisis moment. But for Elijah, he doesn't just have a crisis. I mean, this is a serious deal. Somebody's going to hunt him down and kill him. And he does this whole thing where he's like, well, I just want to die. And he doesn't mean it. He can't mean it because he just ran for his life. Why would he say in the next moment he wants to die? Like, you don't run if you want to. He's confused. He's frustrated. He's angry. He's messed up and twisted in his head, and he has this freak out crisis moment, and it happens to us. It happened to Elijah. Well, the next day, nothing really changes. The next day, nothing really changes, and God provides some food and some water and some ways for him to eat, and things aren't changing after a day and after a week, and soon it's a month, and he starts this journey through the wilderness. And he ends up coming to a mountain, and as he gets to the mountain, it's been 40 days, and he's just been on this journey, and he's been lonely, and he's been by himself, and he thinks every moment he's kind of looking over his shoulder like, who's going to chase him down, and who's going to get him, and is anybody else out to kill him? Nobody else, he's not even seeing any of his friends or any people that he thought had his back, and he's just walking, and he gets to this mountain, and he sees a cave. He decides,
Maybe I'll just stay there. So he climbs and crawls inside the cave. I don't know if you've ever been in a cave, like a real cave, not just kind of a hole in the side of a hill, but a real cave. Anybody go cave exploring ever? I can't see your hands, so you don't have to raise them. Just pretend. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Like caves are cool places to explore. They're cool places to go, and you end up kind of seeing different things. And there's big caves, the Mammoth Cave. You can check out all this different stuff, and there's things hanging from the ceiling, and you got to have lights on because caves are really dark. And it's a cool place to visit, but it's not a cool place to live. Like I watched that Lord of the Rings with those dwarves. Like they seem like really nice guys, and they're like, why do you live in a mine, like underground? Try to make it look nice. Like caves are dark and they're dreary, and like things echo in caves and they're amplified in caves. You drop one little rock and everybody knows. Like it's just loud. It's cold. Nothing good lurks in a cave. But Elijah finds himself on this journey, this lonely, by himself journey that eventually leads to a cave. I just kind of wonder how many of us are living in a cave? Anybody here living in a cave? Maybe for you it's the cave of loneliness. And it started with a person saying something about you or calling you a name, but then soon everybody started calling you names. And you started believing it, and you started feeling like you don't have any friends. Or maybe you had a group of friends, and you were really close, but now that group of friends is still really close, but you're just not with them. Or maybe your mom and dad, you used to be really close with them, and you got to talk to them, and they felt like they understood you, and you could have conversations. But now you're like, do you even know who I am? And you feel alone, and you feel desperate, and you feel like nobody understands you, nobody gets you, and nobody even notices you. Somebody here is living in a cave of loneliness. Someone here is living in the cave of fear. I mean, what if that thing that was never supposed to happen to you, that you haven't told anybody about, what if it happens again? I mean, what if the threats that your mom's making or your dad's making, what if those are real? What if he does leave? What if she never comes back? What if that person finds out? What if everybody finds out? And so we live in this cave of fear. And some of you are living in a cave of fear. Some of us here are living in a cave of confusion. There's all sorts of people speaking in our lives. We got media, we got the news, we got school, we got friends, we got parents, we got this, we got that. People telling us this is how you're supposed to live, and this is what you look like, this is what you're supposed to do. And around your age, you got all sorts of feelings and emotions and things, hormones going on, and you're like, I feel like this, and I feel like that, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, but I feel like that too, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do that too, because there's a label to that, and I'm not sure if I really want that label. I don't know if I really feel like I'm supposed to do that, or know that I'm supposed to do that. I just want to know if I'm normal. People are throwing around words like transsexual, bisexual, and homosexual. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure myself out, and there's these words and there's these labels, and people are saying this is what you're supposed to be like, and if you think that and you feel that and you do that, then you must be that. And we got all sorts of confusion going on. And you're just trying to figure out, I just want to know if I'm normal. There's someone here living in a cave of confusion. There's someone here living in the cave of chaos. Quick question, how many of you have your license? Scream it out because I can't see. How many of you can't wait to get your license? Yeah. How many of you are over the whole license thing? You're like, Gas prices do that to you quick. How many of you are like, my mom and dad can drive me around forever for all I care? You guys are my people right here. That's what I'm talking about. And see, this thing happens when it gets cold out and it snows like it's been snowing. This thing happens, and if you've driven for any amount of time and you've gone on the snow, you know this is kind of what happens. You hit a patch of black ice. Sounds so scary, doesn't it? You can't see it. You don't know it's there. You can't do anything about it when you get on it. You just got to just go. And it happens not just on black ice, but other ice too. You're driving along and you turn this way because you want to go that way, but your car is still going this way. I shouldn't laugh. It's funny to see people's faces sometimes. They're like, they're looking ahead like, Saw it happen in front of me the other day. A girl was trying to go right, and she just went right into the car next to her. She's just looking at me like, you all right? They were fine. I mean, they were just little. I'm such a mean person. See, some of us know that our lives are on black ice. The decisions we're making, the things we're doing, any minute now, we know it's going to spin out of control. We're going to end up in a ditch. We're going to hit some other car, and it's going to be a wreck, and it's going to be a mess. Some of you don't know what I'm talking about, but there's somebody here that does. You're living in this cave of chaos. Some of us are living in a cave of doubt. And God felt so real, and you thought you understood life, and you thought you had this faith, and somehow things have changed, and people have asked questions, and you started asking questions, and now you're like, I don't know what I believe. I thought things were going to work out different, and I just even wonder if God's real. So we've got our caves. And I'd say all of us, most of us, if not all of us, are living in the cave. We've made our journey. We found our cave and we crawled in, and it's not warm. It's not bright. It's not comfortable. But it's a place to hide. And it's all we've got. Elijah is in his cave. It's in this cave that he gets this question. And it's the question that even as I ask it tonight, that when we hear it, it echoes and reverberates and reflects and rattles against the caves that we're living in. There he went into a cave and spent the night. And the word of the Lord came to him. What are you doing here, Elijah? And with every drop from the ceiling of our cave and every wind blowing past and every rock that tumbles away and every shifting shadow, it's like we ask that question over and over again. What are you doing here? 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 And it's almost like as God prompts Elijah and God prompts us, it's almost like we're asking ourselves that same question. What am I doing here in this cave? What am I doing here? Here's Elijah's response. I've been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant, have broken down altars, they put up your prophets to death with the sword. I'm the only one left. Now they're trying to kill me too. Something about Elijah's response that just, it sounds sadly familiar. Because he's in the cave of loneliness. He's in the cave of fear. He's in this cave of confusion, the cave of chaos, the cave of doubt, just like you and me. God, I'm all alone. I'm just here by myself, and nobody else is out there. What's going to happen to me? I mean, people are trying to kill me, and they're trying to come down on me. And I got all this darkness and all this pressure and all this stuff happening. And at any moment now, it's just going to all crumble and fall apart. And I want to know, God, where are you? Because really behind the questions and in the midst of that cave is really this bigger, deeper response that we have in this loneliness and in this desperation and in this place that we live. In Elijah, and you can hear it as he says it. And it's as we say it too. God, I just want to know. I need you to show up in my life right now because I'm living in this cave. And I want to know that you're real, and I want to know that you're here. Give me a sign. Wow me in some way. Make yourself real to me. Make yourself known to me. And it's the thing that happens next is so important for Elijah. It's so important for us. The Lord said, "Go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by." Then a great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. So Elijah hears God speaking to him. He senses God speaking to him. He moves towards the edge of the cave. And at the edge of the cave comes wind, comes fire, earthquake. God's not in those things. And if I'm Elijah, I'm thinking, well, wait a second, God, I ask you to show up. I ask you to show yourself to me. And you bring this wind, but because I want wind in my life. I want wind to knock over the enemies in the darkness that's pushing in on me. I want you to rattle my world and shake these obstacles and these challenges that are in front of me. I want you to consume with fire everything that's holding me back, everything that's holding me back from pursuing the dreams that I have. And we see it from Elijah's story. God wasn't in those things. But there's more. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. When Elijah heard it, he pulled his cloak over his face, and he went out and stood at the mouth of the cave. Then a voice said to him, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" See, Elijah gets to reset. After the wind dies down, after the rocks stop shaking, the smoke clears. It's in that moment that Elijah hears a whisper. And he steps into the stillness. He steps into the quiet. And he doesn't just sense God. He hears the voice of God. See, God can and sometimes does do these acts of God, these powerful, big displays. But more often than not, God's clear and calling voice speaks to us in a whisper. Think about a whisper for a second. And who do you whisper to? You whisper to people you're friends with, right? People you're close with, people that you kind of know well. You don't just whisper to a stranger, right? 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 You whisper to your friend. You girls, you whisper, my goodness, there he is. My voice is so shot. He's so cute, right? Guys, you don't know how to whisper. Hey, there she is, man. Go talk to her. You know what a whisper is? Yeah, that was weakness weird. You should hear me loud. Like, it doesn't happen for guys. Right? And maybe someday a girl and a guy might, be friends and be more than friends kind of thing, and they might whisper sweet nothings to each other. I don't know who does that. But you whisper to people and and you tell them important things. You don't just whisper to a stranger, do you? Oh, now I can see you guys. This is good. I mean, you just don't walk up to somebody you don't know. You know that guy. Hang on. I'm going to get there. I mean, because if you whisper to somebody you don't know, you just walk up to them, all close to their face and stuff, right? Your breath is like on their neck, all moist in their ear. Does that? Yeah, I like you. This is good. Stand up. Awesome. All of you are like, what did he say? Have we met before? No. Like, officially, you don't know me, I don't know you. What's your name? Deontay. Give it up for Deontay. So, Deontay, let me just ask you, like, how did that feel? How was that feel? It was awkward? Were you creeped out at all? Just a little? Good. Because I was like creeped out doing it. Like, I don't know you, and I'm like it's weird, right? I mean, you just don't walk up to a stranger. Give it up again for Deontay. Yeah. You just don't do that. People who do that are creepy, right? I think I just called myself creepy. All right. Here's the thing. You only whisper to people that you're close with and that you know and that you love and that you care about, and you whisper things that are important. Like, I have a son, his name's Dylan. He's 3 years old. Love Dylan. Dylan's the best. Here's the thing about Dylan. People love him too. Here's the thing about Dylan. Sometimes I just go, hey, Dylan, come here. I got to tell you something. He comes over and he kind of tucks in next to me. Hey, man, just want you to know I love you. And he's like, okay, Daddy, and he runs away, right? And sometimes though, Dylan gets a little out of control. He's 3 years old, and he just wants to run around, and sometimes I'm like, Dylan, come here. And I got to pick him up and kind of hold him a little bit closer because he wants to, squirm a little bit. I'd say, all right, buddy, here's the deal. We got to just calm down a little bit. I just don't want you to get hurt. So just got to calm down. You can play. It's all right. All right? Okay, Daddy. All right. Send him on his way. I got a daughter. Her name's Nora. She's 14 months. And Nora's awesome. She'll wake up, though, in the middle of the night. What's with that? I'm just kidding. She's a baby. Right? She'll wake up in the middle of the night, and she's like, she won't fall back asleep, and she's just crying and crying and crying. And I'll go in her room, and I'll pick her up. I'll put her on my shoulder. It's so cute. And I'll just whisper to her, Nora, it's going to be all right. It's okay. And I might hum, I might sing her a song, and I'll rock her, and I'll put her back to sleep. My wife and I, we've been married almost 11 years, and We'll go to the. It's good. We'll go to the movies and stuff and different things, but every once in a while we'll be at like a wedding. And there's something about weddings that just kind of like, it just kind of makes you feel like you're in love all over again. Do your thing. All right, there it is. I can't even just talk without you guys getting all mushy and stuff. Come on. So here's the deal, but once in a while I just, we'll watch somebody dance and we'll be doing this thing and then like people are talking or whatever and I'll just lean over to her and I'll just, Angela, I love you. Seriously. I did not expect that kind of mushiness when I was telling these stories. I'll just be. But here's the thing. You only whisper like that to people you care about, people you love, people that you have an important message for. Because you want them to know that you care. You want them to be comforted and consoled. You want them to be encouraged and inspired and motivated. You want them to have this reinforcement that everything that you say you believe about them, everything that you say you want for them, everything that you say you feel for them, you want them to know that. And sometimes the only way to do that is to come close and whisper. The whisper of God. It's in the whisper of God that his voice is most powerful and profound. It's in the whisper of God that you can have the most mind-blowing, heart-quaking, soul-searing experience if you want to. If you step into the stillness, if you step out of your cave and into his presence. Will you do this for me? Just close your eyes. I want you to just picture yourself in that cave, in your cave. And I don't know what got you in your cave. I don't know what's been keeping you in that cave, but blast is the edge of the cave. Blast is the edge of the cave, and God is whispering. God wants you to hear something. He has something important for you to hear. God is whispering to you. You matter to him. He wants to be close to you. He is close to you. Closer than anyone you've ever known. He knows you better than anyone you've ever known. God is whispering to you. And he has something for you to hear, just for you to hear. Right here, right now. Will you step out of your cave? Will you step into the silence? Will you step into his quiet and into his presence? What are you doing here? You can open your eyes when you're ready.
He is jealous for me. Love's like a hurricane. I am a tree bending beneath the weight of his wind and mercy. And all of a sudden I'm unaware of these afflictions eclipsed by glory, and I realize just how beautiful you are and how great your affections are for me. Oh, how he loves us so. Oh, how he loves us, how he loves us so. voices one more time. Yeah, he loves.
Rejoice, put your hands together. Put your hands together, come on. We're gonna sing Our God is with us. And our God is with us. And we will not forget that you're fighting for us. Who can stop the work of your hand?
You have moved in our God. You came to us.
see your glory again. See your name lifted high. There's nobody else for us. Just you are the only one. Whoa, whoa. You're alive and we are free. You are everything, everything we need. Whoa, whoa. Well, that's spoken, we believe. You are everything, everything we need. Nothing compares to you. Nothing can ever separate us from your love.
This side looks good. Where's your hands at? Come on.
Nothing
It
compares to
looks
you.
beautiful. Come on.
Nothing can ever separate us from your love. Is our come on, say. Nothing compares to you. Nothing could ever separate us from your love. Whoa, whoa. You're alive and we are free. You are everything, everything we need. Whoa, whoa. Love has spoken, we believe. You are everything, everything we need.
Yo, come on.
Let's get those hands going. All right, I'm gonna need everybody to start dancing on this song. Can we do that? All right, it's a brand new song. It's called Alive.
Come on, let's see your dance moves. Come on.
All right, sing I was lost. And I was lost with a broken heart. You picked me up, now I'm set apart. And from the ash I am born again. Forever safe in the Savior's hands. You are more than my words could say. I follow you, Lord, for all my days. And fix my eyes following your ways. Ever free in unending grace. Come on! 'Cause you are my freedom. We live too higher, live too higher. Your love never ending. Oh, oh, oh. you are my freedom. We lift you higher. Oh, you are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. Your love, never ending. Everybody, let's go. We say, you are the love in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. You are enough in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. Whoa. Whoa.
All right. Hey. How's it going, Blast? Oh, man. Been waiting for this night for a long time. This is tons of fun. Hey, usually at this time, a really cool guy like me gets out and tells you kind of what the rules are for the weekend. But we decided we didn't want any cool guys telling us the rules, so we made this video.
Dude, I'm so excited for Blast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you're going, right? Aren't you thramped?
Thramped?
Yeah, it's like a combo of thrilled and amped. Thramped.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess I'm thrilled, but I'm not amped. I mean, I just feel like it's still too cold for swimming.
You know it's an indoor water park, right?
No, I didn't know that. So I should leave my wetsuit at home?
Yeah, and there's a lot of things you should leave at home, too. I mean, like weapons of any kind, knives, guns, even toy guns, pepper spray, nunchucks, throwing stars. Pretty much anything that you can't bring to school, you can't bring to Blast.
What about alcohol or narcotics?
Oh, well, if you're caught with alcohol or illegal drugs, I mean, you'll be dealt with in accordance to Wisconsin state law.
Oh, I don't want to go back to a Wisconsin prison.
You've been in a Wisconsin prison?
Well, no. Technically, it was Lambeau Field, and I was surrounded by Packers fans, so I felt like I was in prison. I mean, I couldn't even get away with spray painting Go Bears on the field after the game.
Yeah, so also no vandalism at Blast. I mean, really, if you do anything that's deemed inappropriate or unsafe by Blast staff, I mean, that could get you sent home. And that includes stage diving or crowd surfing or standing on chairs or jumping on people, etc.
What's the etc.?
Oh, well, I mean, you should never leave your room after the designated in-room times. And you shouldn't really go anywhere alone, and definitely not in your room without a leader present. And you should never, ever, ever go anywhere near the female floor. And the same goes for the girls. I mean, they can't go anywhere near the male floor. And you should never go in the room of someone not associated with Blast. Any of those activities will land you right in Blast jail.
Okay, gosh, I get it. So many rules.
It's pretty straightforward. Just don't be stupid. Oh, wait. It's too late for you.
Don't be stupider.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Blast 2014. Let's all play by the rules, okay? It's not just good, it's got good.
Oh, those guys are awesome. All right, listen up. Hey, if your leaders haven't reviewed the rules with you, please listen to them while they do that. We'd love for them to just spend some time going over those. Make sure you guys know what's up. It's really pretty simple. Just don't be stupid. I love that line. It's good. All right, listen up. A couple things. Tomorrow's encounter time is at 9 a.m. It's in this room right here. If you're talking, you can't listen. 9 a.m. in here. You need to bring your pen, your encounter guide, your Bible. We're going to do it together in this room. All right, if you need extra materials, leaders, you can go to the bookstore if you happen to not have enough for all of your students. Check that out. The bookstore T-shirts can be picked up or bought at the bookstore as well. That'll open tomorrow morning. And you can also buy theme park passes there as well at the bookstore. One more thing I want to tell you about.
There's a Q&A panel that's going to happen tomorrow afternoon here, and we'd love for you guys to text in any questions. You can ask anything, no matter how crazy you think it might be. You could text us in questions, maybe not too crazy. All right, anyways, it's time to go back to your rooms, time to go to small group. One request I do have, listen up, don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. We have to go to our rooms. It's super late. We cannot be roaming the halls. We got a beeline straight to your rooms. Get your small groups in. You can have tons of fun in your rooms. Other than that, have a great night. Welcome to Blast.